friends. Welcome in Learn India Study. Today we read about light. Don't forget to like and subscribe my channel. Refraction. What happens when you see a spoon kept in a glass of water? The spoon appears to be bent. A similar observation is made when a coin is kept underwater and observed from outside. In this case, the coin appears to be raised. Refraction is a phenomenon. All these phenomena are a result of refraction. Refraction is a phenomenon which happens when a ray of light passes from one transparent medium to another. For refraction to take place, it is important that both the media have different densities. Refraction can also take place in the same media if the densities of different layers vary. Refraction. When a ray of light passes from one transparent medium to another transparent medium, there is a change in its direction. This change in direction or bending of light is speed of light. Speed of light is considered to be a universal constant. In reality, however, it changes when traveling through different mediums. For example, the speed of light in vacuum is 108 meters per second, whereas in glass it is 108 meters per second. So, light takes more time to travel a given distance in glass than it would take in air. To compensate for the drop in speed, it takes a shorter path inside the glass so that it does not take extra time to come out of glass. Thus, light changes its direction while traveling through different mediums. There are certain rules that are followed by light during refraction. When light travels from a rarer to a denser medium, it bends towards the normal. When light travels from a denser to a rarer medium, it bends away from the normal. When light travels along the normal, there is no deviation, that is, the ray suffers no refraction. Activity Q. Aim: to demonstrate refraction through a glass slab. Materials required: glass slab, drawing board, few pins, a pencil, a sheet of paper. Procedure: fix pins P and P2 on line PQ and observe the pins from the other side of the slab. Fix pins P3 and P4 such that they are collinear with P, and P2 is seen through the glass slab. Remove the glass slab. Observation: you will see that the straight line is PQT. However, owing to the presence of the glass slab, the ray got deviated or refracted along PQRS. Refraction of light through a prism. A prism is a transparent solid body, often having triangular bases. When three rectangular surfaces are placed in such a way that it forms two triangular faces at opposite ends, they form a prism. The triangular faces are called the principal faces of the prism. Figure 16.10 shows the path of a ray of light as it passes through a prism. In the figure, ZA is known as the angle of the prism, PQRS is the ray of light passing through the prism, PQ is the incident ray, QR is the refracted ray and RS is the emergent ray. In the absence of the prism, the ray PQ would have moved towards S. The ray deviates through an angle 6, delta, which is known as the angle of deviation. The Z is known as the angle of incidence, Z is the angle of emergence and the angle of deviation is the angle between the incident ray and the emergent ray. The sum of the angle of incidence and the angle of emergence is equal to the sum of the angle of the prism and the angle of deviation. Therefore, Z plus Z equals ZA plus ZB.
For this setup, we will need a motorized rotating wheel, which has a large number of teeth and gaps like a gear. It's important that the width of the teeth are exactly the same as the width of the gaps. The next thing we need is a light source. Let's assume it's a strong laser for simplicity. The same can be achieved with, say, a light bulb or even a candle with an appropriate set of lenses. We will also need a semi-reflective mirror. It is a partially glazed glass which allows some light to pass through it and some would get reflected. We'll need to keep it tilted for reasons which will be obvious very soon. And lastly, we need a regular mirror on the other side of the wheel. With the setup as shown, when we switch on our laser, the light passes through the semi-glazed mirror. Some of the light would get reflected as well, but we'll ignore that as it is not relevant to this experiment. The light is pointed towards the outer rim of the wheel where there are teeth. If the wheel rotation is such that the light encounters a gap, it will pass through it and hit the mirror on the other side. The light beam then gets reflected and traces its path through the gap between the teeth again and hits the semi-glazed mirror. Some of the light passes through it, but again we'll ignore that part. The remaining light will get reflected and here is where we will observe the light. Now let's start rotating the wheel. Doing this will cause the light to flicker at our observation point. We'll keep increasing the speed of rotation gradually. As we do that, at one point we'll observe that the light is completely blocked and no light can reach our observer. Let's see what causes this to happen. This will only happen when the light passing through the gap between the teeth, by the time it reaches back to the wheel has moved exactly one tooth distance, and so it blocks the reflected light beam. As it has moved exactly one tooth distance, all the light passing through the gap will get blocked. The light from the rightmost edge of the gap will hit the rightmost part of the adjacent tooth. Light passing through the middle of the gap will hit the middle, and light passing through the left edge of the gap will hit the left edge of the tooth. So all the light is blocked from the observer's point of view. From this we can see that the time taken by the light to travel from the rim of the wheel to the mirror and back is same as the time it takes for the wheel to rotate by the width of one tooth. With this information, we can figure out the speed of light if we know the speed at which the wheel is rotating. Let's do some math and find out the speed. If the number of teeth on the wheel is say 720 and the speed of the wheel at which light blocks is 13 revolutions per second, which means time it takes to rotate one full circle is 1 by 13 seconds. We can now find out the time it takes for the wheel to move the distance of one tooth. There are 720 teeth and 720 gaps of the same length. So if we divide the speed of the full rotations by 720 plus 720, we get the time it takes to rotate one gap length. Now the distance between the wheel and the mirror is 8 kilometers or 8,000 meters. Yeah, it has to be that large. So the distance light travels from the wheel to the mirror and back is twice of that. That is 16 kilometers or 16,000 meters. If we denote c as the speed of light, the time taken by the light to travel 16,000 meters is 16,000 divided by c. Now this time must exactly match the time it takes to rotate the wheel by one tooth distance to effectively block the light completely, which gives us speed of light to be approximately 3 times 10 raised to 8 meters per second.
Dispersion of light and spectrum. What happens to a beam of white light passing through a prism? The white light splits into a band of 7 constituent colors. The separation of a beam of light into its constituent colors is known as dispersion of light. When the white light splits into its 7 components, the band of light thus formed is known as the spectrum. The 7 colors observed on a CD, on a layer of oil or in a rainbow are examples of a spectrum. Lenses. You must have seen a magnifying glass in your laboratory or at home. How does it appear? What is it useful in? Have you ever wondered how can it magnify images of very small sizes? Let us know how it happens. Lenses are transparent mediums which are bounded by 2 surfaces, of which at least one is spherical. Types of lenses. There are 2 types of lenses. First, convex lens or converging lens. Second, concave lens or diverging lens. Convex lens or converging lens. Convex lens or converging lens, it is thick in the middle and thin at the edges. It bends the light ray which passes through it, inwards. Concave lens or diverging lens. Concave lens or diverging lens, it is thinner in the middle and thicker at the edges. It bends the light ray passing through it, outwards. Before understanding the formation of images in different lenses, we must know the terms associated with them. Principal axis, it is an imaginary line passing through the centers of the 2 spheres of which the lens is formed. It passes through the center of the lens. Optical center, O, it is a point in the lens at which the ray of light does not get deviated. It is denoted by O. Principal focus, F, it is the point at which the rays of light falling on a converging lens, converge. In case of a concave lens, the rays of light appear to diverge from the principal focus. It is the point F on the principal axis. Focal length, of, it is the distance between the optical center O and the focus F of a lens. It is denoted by slash. Images formed by the lenses. The image formed by a lens can be located by tracing the paths of the rays of light coming from an object after they are refracted from the lens. An image is formed at a point where the two refracted rays meet or appear to meet. To understand this and make geometrical diagrams, any two of the following three rays of light are considered. Paths of incident rays at different points on convex lens. An incident ray parallel to the principal axis. An incident ray parallel to the principal axis, this ray after refraction passes through the focus of a convex lens, figure 16.15a. In case of a concave lens, this ray diverges after refraction and appears to be coming from the principal focus. An incident ray passing through the focus. An incident ray passing through the focus, this ray passes through the focus of the lens and becomes parallel to the principal axis after refraction through the lens, figure 16.15c. Images formed by a converging lens. When an object is placed at different positions, the images formed are also different. Depending upon the distance of the object from the lens, the image varies in its size, position and nature, erect or inverted, real or virtual. Let us study them in brief. Object between f and 2f. Object between f and 2f, the image formed in this case is inverted and real. It is larger than the object and is formed on the other side of the lens, figure 16.17. Object at the focus, f. Object at the focus, f, in this case no image is formed. This is because the refracted rays are parallel to each other and do not meet. It is assumed that these parallel rays appear to meet at infinity. Thus, the image is highly magnified, real and inverted, figure 16.18. Object at infinity. When the object is at a very large distance than the focal length, we say that the object is placed at infinity. In this case the image formed is real, inverted and smaller than the object, figure 16.19. Object is beyond 2f. Object is beyond 2f, the image, in this case, forms between the f and 2f, on the other side of the lens. The image is real, inverted and smaller than the object, figure 16.20. Object is at 2f. Object is at 2f, the image in this is formed at 2f on the other side of the lens. It is real, inverted and of the same size as that of the object, figure 16.21. The human eye behaves like an optical instrument having a lens and a screen. Let us understand the structure of the eye and how it enables us to see things. The eye consists of eyelids that cover the eye and offer protection. The exposed surface of the eyeball has a transparent covering called the cornea. The light rays fall on it and are refracted onto the eye lens. The white part of the eye is the sclera and is filled with a watery fluid. Just behind the cornea is the opaque muscular diaphragm having a small aperture in the center. The muscular diaphragm is the iris and the aperture is the pupil. The function of the iris is to control the size of the pupil through which the light rays enter the eyeball. When the light is too bright, the iris expands and reduces the size of the pupil, and when the light is dim, the iris contracts and the size of the pupil increases. A lens. As the light enters through the pupil, it falls on a jelly-like transparent material made of proteins, which is the eye lens. The function of the eye lens is to focus the light passing through it onto the light-sensitive screen called the retina. The eye lens is held in position by a pair of muscles called the ciliary muscles. Other than holding the lens, the ciliary muscles adjust the focal length of the lens by either stretching it and making it thin to increase its focal length, or by contracting and making it bulge to decrease its focal length. The retina consists of a large number of light-sensitive cells which generate electrical signals when light falls on them. These electrical signals are carried by the optic nerve to the brain to be interpreted so that the objects may be seen. The human eye has the unique ability to quickly adjust itself to see nearby and distant objects in quick succession. When we look at a nearby object, the ciliary muscles contract and make the eye lens bulge so that the focal length of the lens decreases. This is the reason for us to feel the strain on the eye while trying to concentrate on minute objects. Power of accommodation. When we see a faraway object, the ciliary muscles relax and flatten the lens so that its focal length increases. Thus, while seeing distant objects we never feel any strain on the eye. This ability of the lens of the eye to self-adjust its focal length is termed as the power of accommodation. There is one point on the retina where the nerve fibers enter the optic nerve. The image falling on this part of the retina cannot be seen, and hence it is known as the blind spot. Defects of vision and their correction. A normal human eye can accommodate for clear vision of objects from the farthest point, infinity, up to 25 centimeters. Thus, the distance of 25 centimeters is known as the near point or the least distance of distinct vision. We are able to see an image only if it is formed on the retina. If the image is focused in front or behind the retina, the image appears to be blurred. Long-sightedness or hypermetropia. Long-sightedness or hypermetropia is a disorder caused by the eyeball being shorter than normal. As a result, after the rays converge, the eye lens can form an image of a nearby object only at a distance which ends behind the retina. Hence, the image formed on the retina is blurred and the person cannot see nearby objects clearly. However, he has no problem with objects kept at a distance. Such a person is called a long-sighted person. The defect of hypermetropia may be corrected by using a convex or short-sightedness or myopia. In case of short-sightedness or myopia, the eyeball is too long for a beam of parallel rays from a distant object to be focused on the retina. Hence, the rays get focused in front of the retina. As a result, a person with this defect can see nearby objects clearly but not the faraway ones. To correct this defect, a diverging or concave lens is used to create an extra divergence so that the image gets formed on the retina. Cataract. It is another defect of the eyes that generally occurs at the old age. In this disease, the lens of the eyes becomes cloudy and the patient might lose his/her eyesight. It can be treated surgically by replacing the diseased eye lens with a new artificial lens. Taking care of eyes. Eyes are an important part of our body, without which we cannot live our life normally. We must take proper care of the eyes to keep them healthy and disease-free. Different precautions for eye care are listed below. Wash and clean your eyes with cold water at least twice daily. Avoid reading in too dim or too bright light. Do not read in moving vehicle as it strains the eyes. Avoid looking directly at too bright objects like the sun and wear sunglasses to protect eyes from harmful sun rays. Rest your eyes frequently while working on computers or reading books. Reading books and looking at computers for longer durations may harm your eyes. Visit an ophthalmologist to get your eyes checked properly at regular intervals of time. Do not rub your eyes if something drops in them. Clean them with cold water and visit a doctor. Maintain a normal distance while reading and avoid reading from too close or far distance. As you know that vitamin A is good for eyes, include food items like fruits, eggs, fish, carrot and dairy products in your diet. Visual impairment. We are able to see objects around us clearly, but there are several people in this world who are unable to do so. They are either born blind or have lost their vision due to some accident or disease. There are certain visual aids that have been created to assist such people in leading a better lifestyle. The visual aids could be either lenses, magnifying glasses, audio aids or aids that include use of the sense of touch. Braille is one of the several aids that has been created for the visually impaired people. It makes use of dots that are placed in various regular patterns and they enable a person to read and write using their hands. The formations in the Braille represent various alphabets, symbols and numbers. The dots are punched and appear raised. They can be felt by moving fingers over them. Persistence of vision. To see an object, its image must be formed on the retina by the eye lens. As soon as the object is removed, the image disappears but the brain remembers the image for L/16th of a second even after the removal of the object. This effect is called persistence of vision. As a result, we continue to see the object for L/16th of a second longer even when the object is not in front of our eyes. This phenomenon is utilized in making of motion pictures. If more than 10 pictures per second are flashed in front of our eyes, the effect is of a moving object. Before the brain has forgotten the first image, the second, third and fourth are projected and they merge as a single moving object. Word bites. Lateral inversion, the left-right reversal experienced by an image formed in a plane mirror. Refraction, the phenomenon of deviation of a ray of light when it passes from one transparent medium to another. Dispersion of light, the separation of white light into 7 constituent colors. Spectrum, the band of colors that is obtained when white light splits into its constituents colors. Hypermetropia, visual defect due to which a person is able to see far away objects clearly but not the near objects. Myopia, visual defect due to which a person is able to see nearby objects clearly but not the far away objects. Handicap zone. When light rays strike an opaque surface and rebound into the same medium, reflection occurs. Image in a plane mirror is of the same size as the object, is always upright or erect, at the same distance from the mirror as the object, and is laterally inverted. Multiple reflections take place when two or more mirrors are kept at some angle to one another near an object. Kaleidoscope and periscope are two instruments which use the principle of multiple reflections. Refraction occurs when a ray of light passes from one transparent medium to another having different densities. The two main defects of the eye are myopia and hypermetropia. Thanks for watching this video. Please like and subscribe my channel. You have any problem, ask in the comment box. In the previous video we learned solar system and crop production and management. Link is given in the description box. Have a wonderful day. Keep learning and I will see you soon.